Are you all tired yet? I went to the river yesterday and I found this stone. Very smooth. Interesting. I try not to take stones from the river. I think I've had my fill. But I had to grab this one. You can't pass this thing up. And so if you're watching me, if you're watching shit in this world, you're not content. If you watch YouTube, you're not actually living life. When I was living life, I didn't consume anything other than food and books. We gotta follow the river of life to the mountain. I gotta get to the fucking mountain. This world is, it's in its own process. I'm not storming the Capitol. I'm not stopping the machine in any way. To engage in that thing is to become what it is. So I'm here for the next phase when the cataclysm comes. That's why I'm here. The cataclysm is a great reset. It kicks over the Tower of Babel before we can destroy ourselves. I don't know if it's on some kind of a timer thing, or if it's just relational to the growing psyche within us, and as the psyche reaches its peak, most people can't handle it and they go crazy. And as people go crazy, they're easy to become possessed. And then you see the expression of the dying egregor trying to hold on for life, trying to turn everything into a static so that it can be immortal in form, in matter. And then all we see in the future is the vestiges of past civilizations in their architecture, maybe some carvings, some books. But as we're here for ourselves, we're here for others, we're here for things beyond what we can conceive without falling into religious and spiritual terms. How to become self-possessed. How do you find your mountain? I like to reduce complexity to the simplest things so that I can understand it, digest it. And then as necessity dictates, I add complexity and layers as needed. That's how I like to do things. It's not how I always do. Where's the mountain? You're trapped when you're in your mind. It's the only place you're ever trapped, really. Some people, they have to be locked up in a cell to learn how to become free. Some people have to be locked up in society in order to figure out how to be free. Usually it's the conditioning of our families and the epigenetics of our environments which teach us that. The darkness, it operates through other people, and it's doing it to allow you the opportunity to find yourself in that mire. And as you begin to find yourself in the mire, you find that you yourself are emanating your own shadows into other people for them, just as they are for you. And then you're faced with choices, hard choices, real choices. That's the only choice, is the hard one. It's the only thing worth doing. You know, my brother, he's like, you fight for your children, you fight for the future of humanity and all this other stuff. And while I can feel that, I feel it's wrong. Staring into the abyss is to become it. How do you live without fighting? If true need rises, then it's a natural, pure expression. It's not fighting, it's just living. But when it's in response to the echo loops, the echo response of a falling polis, it's not really a fair game, it's rigged, So how do you find the fucking mountain? We're not even really here in this world. If you think about time and space. So whatever you do isn't a waste, essentially. That's an objectivity. When you become self-possessed, everything you do matters. It doesn't matter if other people understand it. It's a good sign if they don't, actually. So the value of beliefs here. Let's talk for a moment astrology, Taurus to Sag. This is the transformation of value into belief. And then the remaining energy is what you do with it. How you apply it in the shit show, in the legacy of what once was, as it is now. See Pluto tearing it all down, transforming it, digesting it. We've got old karmic loops, old contracts being closed out, new ones being formed. That's why there's all this consent with people for new systems and new technocracy and the social contracts. If you read the label of any food, and it's poisonous and you still eat it, you decided it wasn't worth avoiding. You agreed to it, essentially. And then breaking out of that, how do you take what was valuable from what is and continue on with that, but cut bait on the rest, and where does that lead you? How do you take that torch and carry it through the void of potential? You know, being Wu Wei, being in spirit of self-possession, you bring in new energy to this world and you express new myth, you cultivate myth. And as you cross over the Alpha Omega, then you bring that into expression, and that's the purity of the spirit. And Aries here, back to value, and then you go through the transformation again with a new value. And it's the cultivation of the belief. So we're at the first reach here with the Sun in Virgo. Sun's about to, in a couple weeks, it will be trining Jupiter. I mean, right now we've got the grand Earth trine exact, well, it's an exact trine between Mars and Pluto, but we've got this reach into Uranus here in Taurus. But I feel the last decan is a little bit more amped, or subtly amped, I should say. It's a refined expression. It doesn't take much here, so there'll be subtle information flowing through this change in your values as Uranus goes retrograde. We'll see the shadows expressed in the world around us to remind us of what that actually was. The slight indicators that we felt will be known. Like, I had a hunch, why didn't I do this? Well, that's why. Or I should have did this and now I see why I felt that way. It's the underground railroad of spirit now. The cultivation of human heritage is the cultivation of spirit. We've survived all these different religions, all these dictators, these tyrants, these cataclysms, this changing times. And through all that, the fire's been refined, the fire of your spirit, of your expression. And collectively, it's the collective expression. So doing it for the children, doing it for the future, is doing it for yourself in these times. How do you get out of the mind? How do you live a good life without being in relation to this echo response of a dying system, a changing system? If I stare into it, it will stare into me. I will have to dance its song, you know, play its melody. And I've done that my whole life. I'm done with that. Done. So how do you awaken, realize, hold, nurture the harvest of that heritage of human spirit? You gotta find your mountain. You've got to get to the mountain somehow. The world will always challenge you. It validates you, essentially. Gives you life through its distinction. So I guess the mountain you start within. And then as you stare towards something within yourself, the world resonates with it, I guess. That's what I'm feeling anyway. But that could just be my path. You might have some other path. So try and figure out what it is. But in any case, thanks for listening, watching, being, all that stuff.